Iron Man. Iron Man does whatever an iron can.
He steams your clothes.
Wrinkle free. He's a friend to you and me. Look out.
Here comes the Iron Man. Hey, everybody, welcome back. It's just some Sal.
I'm Ethan.
I'm Ben.
We haven't done an Iron Man book in a while, and I thought, let's do the last one. Iron Man The End, from David Michelinie, Bob Layton, and Bernard Chang. This is not really the last Iron Man story, but it
looks
is
like the first Iron Man story.
based on this misleading and just straight up lie of a cover. Yeah, absolutely. It looks like the first Iron Man story.
They want to remind you of the origins of Iron Man.
Yeah.
Or the movie, more likely.
More likely. Well, that's why that suit is there.
Yeah.
It's
When did this come out?
2009.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, this is like the second wave of Marvel The Ends. They tried out Marvel The End in 2005-ish, and they did a few, and we still haven't done all of them, and I'm excited to one day cover them. But for now, we're going to do Wave 2, which is other The Ends. The more kind of like, what?
Secondary characters.
Yeah, like characters that we wouldn't have gotten to because who cares?
Right, or
like
who
Iron Man.
cared until now.
Until now,
But,
yeah.
oh!
Right.
Now Iron Man's everyone's favorite
yeah, Iron Man's big
superhero.
now.
Still haven't
We
even
didn't do it at
gotten-
the end.
Yeah, we did the Hulk The End. That
Right.
was also part of this wave.
Was Thor the end also?
They did not do Thor The End.
Oh.
Yeah, they still haven't done a Spider-Man The End.
And they never will.
no point
Spider-Man
not
will
to-
never end.
But they did a Wolverine The End, and neither will that.
I mean, literally,
That's
that
true.
shouldn't end.
Yeah, they also did a Miles Morales Spider-Man The End. So it's like, that counts.
That's
I
interesting.
guess. But they also did a whole bunch of like weird what-ifs with Miles, where I was like, what are you doing? What are you doing? This is horrible. It was just, what if Miles Morales were Wolverine? What if Miles Morales were Iron Man? Like, instead of Spider-Man. And I'm like, what if Miles Morales were Captain America?
Are you
Yeah.
trying to get rid of Miles Morales?
What if Miles Morales was a cat?
Well, Miles Morales was invented to be Spider-Man, so it would be lame
Well, that
if he
wouldn't
were
make any
anyone
sense.
else. And I've read those what-ifs, and I'm right. They're lame, and it's weird, and it only just contradicts the premise, and I'm like, what a weird idea. Like, and
But why would
asked
you
for
do
by
that?
no one.
Yeah.
Did they turn him into like other superheroes based on their origins?
Yeah, like what if Miles Morales, the character you know, instead of getting bitten by a spider, was part of the Weapon X program or something? What if Bruce Wayne were Superman? Like,
Right.
Except that's an
I'm sure
Elseworld
that was
story,
actually
and
done,
they
yeah.
did that, but it wasn't Bruce. It was Clark.
Well, so what if Clark has the backstory of Batman?
Yeah, we did. It was called Superman Speeding
I don't
Bullets.
even friggin'
Yeah,
remember
Clark
that.
lands in Metropolis, and then he is raised by the Waynes.
But, yeah, okay.
Yeah,
yes.
after he crushes their son.
He kills Bruce
He kills
with his
Bruce.
rocket.
With a bud.
No, that's not what happens. I don't want to mislead anybody. That's not what happens in Superman Speeding Bullets.
Or
You wanna
does
find
it?
out? Well, find out. Just click the link above Ben's head. So, Iron Man The End, again, this is 2009. It is right before they introduced all the like bleeding edge, insane armor for Tony. And David Michelinie had...
So
and
there's
David-
no nano armor.
not the way... Yeah, no, there's been nano armor.
Oh,
but like,
okay.
it hasn't been ubiquitous.
I see.
But long after Michelinie and Layton had stopped doing Iron Man stories, and they were like, well, let's get the guys who wrote a lot of Iron Man and have them do The End. And the result is this story that is so short, they packaged it with like 6 other Iron Man stories
I was
in the
gonna say
trade.
there's all these old school.
Yeah.
Like half the book is this stuff.
Yeah, and it has nothing to do with what's happening in Iron Man The End. It's not even like it provides context for references made by 2 guys who haven't written for Marvel in a long time. Like,
my God.
It's just a bunch of stuff. And it's clearly just because they went, well, we want to charge $16.99 for this trade, and we
Right.
can't justify it with a The End issue that was one single issue released for like $4.99.
It's
So
one
that's
issue.
Literally how much this is?
Yeah,
Yikes.
yeah.
That is criminal.
I know. Well, some of the ends were one issue. Punisher the End, for example, they were a little longer than your average issue. You know, but then there were other books like X-Men the End, which was 3 volumes of stories.
That's it? That's all the end?
Yeah,
Okay, so this episode should be no more than
an hour and a half.
45 minutes. I was gonna say half hour. Like, there's no way.
We're
no
gonna
way.
We're gonna talk for an hour and a half. You're gonna be like, I can't cut
sorry.
this. Guys, just talk about something, anything.
An hour and
Yeah.
a half is just how long we want to talk when we sit down
Yes.
and talk. It doesn't really matter what the subject is.
Exactly. And some of the weird decisions that are made in this story are references to nothing. It's just, it almost speaks to the integrity of Michelinie and Layton to do this.
Where they probably had ideas of what they were going to do, and they're going to reference it.
It's more like, for what I was about to say was just, it speaks to the integrity of Michelinie and Layton that they just decided to tell an original story. They were like, well, it would be lame if we just did another Demon in a Bottle, or if we did a greatest hits story where like Iron Man is dying and he sees every awesome Iron Man story flash before his eyes.
Right.
Or, someone comes back to life and the Mandarin attacks Iron Man. Like, no.
No, this is just another thing that happens to him.
Yes.
And it's also the last thing that happens to him.
Theoretically. And I saw some like descriptions of Marvel the End where they're like, good ending or bad ending? Like, that's how they kind of categorize the ends, where it's like, is it a sad ending or is it a hopeful ending? Like Fantastic Four, the end, both of them, where no one dies and they just stop being the Fantastic Four.
Yeah.
And
Which
by
is
that,
like,
I
that's
mean,
not even the end, because that has already happened, I'm sure.
yeah, they've quit before.
Yeah.
Any number
Yeah, but
of
this is the
characters
last
have-
time they quit.
Yeah, but I'm telling you, this is the last time.
Exactly.
And trust me, bro.
Yeah. Well, it says the end on the cover. That's how you
Right.
know.
Yeah, but then what if they come out with like
The
Fantastic
End
Four:
2.
The End 2?
Which I'm blown away. That we
You
haven't
said there
seen that.
were two of them.
Well,
Well,
yeah,
yeah,
but
but they're
they're
not
not.
sequels.
Yeah, one's not a sequel to the other.
Yeah,
They're unrelated.
No, which is why that's called the last Fantastic Four story. But it's absolutely the end.
But that's the same as the end premise. You can't just.
Yeah, but it's a completely different story, so I get 2 bites of the same apple.
Okay, I have a pitch for the final Fantastic Four.
Yeah, we go one more.
I call it the Final Four.
Right, boom. Hey, you're halfway there.
Did they do any other The Last Blank stories?
No.
Okay, so there's
There is
only one
no-
entry in
there- yeah.
the Last Blank story verse.
Yes, there is, but it's the last Ronin, and it's nothing to do with this.
That's true. Yeah, IDW would be like, hey, no, we need that. Don't take that away from me, please.
Now, is this book in the Endiverse?
I mean,
where
there
any
is,
of the other
there
the
is
ends
no
happen?
the Endiverse.
Oh, okay.
And thank God, because it would be so complicated
That would
and hard
be
to
very
manage.
upsetting.
Yeah,
Hey,
it's like,
this is the universe where everything just ends.
right. Yeah, it's in Marvel Comics The End, which is also a Tim Starlin book, which we've covered. If there was a The Endiverse where it's like, this is chapter 9, where each and every Marvel hero dies. Like, oh man, what a depressing world we're in.
It would
I
be.
don't want to go there.
Yeah.
It would be very hard to write if the end book had to like jive
Incorporate.
with all the other, like every book that gets written makes it harder to write the next one.
Especially because they're all set in a dystopian future. Like,
Right.
none of their futures align or reflect each other. So
Yeah.
great. Especially this one.
I guess they all have to be different universes.
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
each one is-
No, they're all completely different universes. It's more like the End imprint.
What if you'd say there was a big sea dragon, like in space, who had to like destroy these end worlds?
Interesting. Yeah, because they are kind of dark, aren't they? Because they're ending.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, I think he'd be a pretty rich and interesting character, and his stories would be worth showing up during the summertime for a massive event. Iron Man: The End opens with Tony Stark passed out at his desk, and you're like, Demon and Ball. He's
Yep.
back on the sauce. Oh
yeah,
no.
of course he is.
And he says, oh hell, it happened again. And you could see some world building already because he's got the logo, or it's a screensaver or something that represents his company, and it's called Stark Universal. Tony Stark has many names for many companies, all of which start with his name and end with other words like international,
Unlimited.
unlimited.
Stark Coffee.
Yeah. Well,
Stark Co.
Stark Brake Lines.
Enterprises, but this one's Stark Universal, and I was like, oh, that'd be great. Oh, so like I'm guessing that Stark helped pioneer space, maybe made a deal with the Guardians or something. And no,
No, that's
he's doing something
Universe. This is Universal.
yes, he's
Oh, good. It's a movie line.
he's reaching the universe with his projects. He's planning on going Universal. That's why he named
an
the company
aspirational
that.
title.
Exactly. And I'm like, what? Because according to the description for this book, this takes place in the middle decades of the 21st century.
Okay, so like the 2050s?
let's presume 2050s, maybe
Yeah.
2100s.
I mean,
It has to be 2050s because Stark's still alive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The 21st century would be from 2000 to 2100.
There you go.
So it would have to be,
Yeah.
between
And it has to be before
2030
2099 because we know 2099
Right.
is the definitive true future of the Marvel universe.
Right, of course.
According to everyone who worked
Yeah,
on
but not
2099
of
when that
the
launched.
universe that this is in.
Hell no.
Which is not.
Yeah, not in any way.
or it is.
Sure,
No,
why
it
not?
can't be because they're all different. Okay.
Exactly, yeah.
I mean, our Iron Man is not in 2099.
No, he is not.
Iron Man could end and 2099 could still exist, presumably.
That's true because it is not the definitive Marvel universe.
Yeah.
And neither is 2099, but whatever. So Stark is passed out at his desk and he wakes up and he says, "Oh, bad habit crashing in the middle of a work session. I'm just tired and I'm old."
You thought I was drunk.
And that shame on
Reader.
you.
Yeah.
Okay, but also I
What?
understand because I am an addict.
Right. It's not normal to just pass out on your computer like that,
Well,
though.
and he'll explain why
Hey,
he's passing out.
Don't judge.
If you're finding yourself in that situation, you're thinking, "Oh, it happened again.
You need to read
Something's
things
wrong with your body.
Look,
you need to see a doctor."
I'm just going to say this. Sometimes you're gaming for a while,
Right.
or you're watching YouTube, and then you wake up 20 minutes later and you're like, oh, I should probably go to sleep.
Okay, that's
Could happen to
fair
anybody.
enough.
Yeah, that's fair.
That's fair enough. But this is work.
Yeah, he's at work.
He is at work.
He owns the company.
That's true. He's at home or whatever. Who cares?
I don't know. It doesn't look like. Maybe he's home. I don't know.
He's Iron Man. No, he's at work.
Yeah.
If you own the building, are you ever really, like, not at
Well,
home?
that's, you know.
That's true. So anyway, he's like, I used to just take a shot of whiskey to kind of steady myself, but I don't do that anymore. Because remember, I don't do that anymore.
Right.
And now I have to take medication. And you're like, oh, okay, maybe he's a pill popper. No. He takes medicine because he is sick, but it's fine.
Uh-huh. Okay. All right, so he
And,
has some kind of condition.
Right, exactly. And he's just old. And that's what he kind of keeps referring to. He says, I've had to fight, I fought for 50 years. You know, I fought like bombs and bullets and buyouts, but the one thing that slipped through my defense is that when I wasn't looking was time. I'm like, oh, that's kind of fun.
Not all of us have the super soldier serum to keep us going.
We don't even see him.
Yeah.
Captain America's not in this story.
Come on, Steve.
Actually, I
Give
think-
Tony a little bump.
I think Captain America is in this story, and it's not Steve. And it's like,
What? Why
what
wouldn't it be?
Why wouldn't it be? All right, fine,
If
whatever.
you're going to do that, address it.
Yeah, no,
Then just leave it Steve.
Right.
What?
never. I'm David Michelini, and I am essentially doing it at the end to my run. And my run wouldn't do that except for all the times that Steve appeared in it. So anyway, I'm gonna access my special suit. He grabs a suitcase, which is like a staple of the Michelini Layton era, where it's like my suit's in the little briefcase that turns into my suit.
Oh, I
And
thought that was the cartoon show that did that.
the cartoon show also did that because
Also
the cartoon
Iron Man
show
2?
was just like dovetailing right into that. But I believe that period was also written by Kaminsky. So Kaminsky was just carrying over the Michelini Layton stuff. But yeah, I vividly recall. Takes out the bait. And in fact, you'll get a couple of Iron Man from the Marvel Action Hour references, though they may only be incidental because that show is doggedly and bizarrely accurate. And you'll see them as they go. But yes, that cartoon show, I mean, it's the definitive Iron Man animated series. There are two of them. Kinda. There's like those awful animations in the 60s with like Thor and Iron Man and stuff, and they were unwatchable. Don't let anyone try to convince you that they're fun or animated. That Iron Man show from the 90s, though, pretty watchable, especially when they're drawing directly from the comics. Like Armor Wars is just a 2-part episode, and it's amazingly accurate. And you're like, oh, okay, weird. And the reason is because it's just choked with Iron Man characters. And licensing is like, yeah, whatever. Also, we're owned by Toy Biz, and so every character that shows up can be an action figure. And man, did they mine the hell out of that. They even created a device within that show where Iron Man is just like using his Iron Man suit, and then he's like, oh no, I need to go underground. So I'll just push a button, and my suit, I won't even push a button. My suit will just transform into a completely different Iron Man suit via
Magic.
an electrical beam that goes over my suit and becomes like a drilling suit or an underwater suit or a space suit.
Oh my
and
God.
Each and every suit is
It's an
also an action
action
figure you can
figure.
buy. And by the way,
They
if
just
you're
turned
going to
him in-
make a Marvel character into a cartoon show that is existing specifically to sell action figures, Iron Man is the way to go because he has a million armors.
Yeah, yes, but that's not how they work.
Not in the least.
It doesn't matter if that's how they work.
Right, it doesn't.
In the
but
cartoon
also-
show, it totally works.
But it's also baffling.
It bothers me because like he's a mechanical character.
Yes.
Right? Like, and there's a machine that puts the pieces on him and stuff. And then it's like, nah, just to put a laser.
Yeah.
Like, but how would that work though?
But in the cartoon,
Now it's nanites.
It comes out of the briefcase. The briefcase
Right.
descends into a suit, like in Iron Man 2. Thank you.
Yes. Yeah.
And then he gets into it. And then he turns into CG for no good reason. And then once the suit's back on, he turns back into 2D animation.
Right.
But never mind that. But that's also in this. And I was like, oh! But Michelini writes around that by saying he has new armor, and it's kind of like a liquid tech. He's not quite there for the nanites.
He doesn't know about nanites yet.
No.
A liquid tech like the T-1000?
Kinda, yeah. But he grabs the briefcase, you're like, oh, good homage. And then it morphs into this kind of like liquid armor that hardens around him and becomes just a classic Iron Man armor. You're like, okay, right on, he's Iron Man. Okay.
Fine, okay.
Great. So he's going out to an island where they are doing his life's work. He's got a huge project that they are working diligently to get finished before he dies because he's
A human?
old, but
Yeah.
not that old.
Well, how old is he?
They don't say specifically how old he is, but we do
He
know
should be that old.
He's been Iron Man for 50 years. So let's say he's 80, 70 maybe?
at
That
least
is too old to
70.
be Iron Man.
Well, you'll see. That's true.
But I assume they have drugs that help slow your aging
they don't,
or some shit.
It doesn't come up. And in fact,
Because he does not look 70.
no, he doesn't.
I'm sorry, if you're still Iron Manning after 60,
Yeah.
you're just asking to break all your bones.
Well, the thing is, he has like horrible nerve damage, which is also a holdover from all the Iron Man stories where he's just been treating his body like an amusement park. You know, that like in Armor Wars 2, where the armor around him was moving his body for him, and that gave him
Yeah.
horrible, debilitating nervous system damage because
Right.
he's just like trying to fight against every single micro movement within his body, and it's just when it finally gets off of him, he's like, "I'm dead." Like it just my shit don't work no more.
Right. Every bone and ligament in my body is
just-
strained beyond
Yes.
the breaking point.
And so Iron Man refers to the idea. He doesn't even reference all that stuff though, which I'm like, you invented it, but he's like, no. It's just I put myself through being Iron Man for so long that I have essentially a boxer's body. Like, you know, boxers don't live that long. It's because they just pummel themselves into oblivion.
Yeah.
That's what he did. But like on my whole body. Forever. So I'm gonna die prematurely, and I'm like, I mean, are you though?
Yeah,
Have you been
'cause-
Iron Manning for 50 years? How old were you when you became Iron Man? I'm not gonna give you 20. It has to be at least 30.
How great would it be if he's like, no, I'm 45 and I look like this.
That I buy. I like the
yeah,
idea
but that
of
would
him
only
being
be like
45.
5 years from now?
Yes.
Yeah, it really should only be like, I'm an Iron Man for 15 years.
Well, how
Yes.
old was
Iron Man for 10 is too much.
Exactly.
And I did it for 15.
Right. I agree with that. I'm
Yeah.
I'm down for that.
That to
but
make
he
it
says
seem like it's
50
way in the
years.
future, though, right?
Yes.
Maybe
How
he dictated
old
it.
was he when he became Iron Man? Like what, like canonically?
Right. I don't know.
Like was he Robert Downey Jr. age? Because he was in his late 30s, early 40s when he became
I
Iron
think
Man.
it was like 43 when he became Iron Man. But in the comics, I want to say Tony, he was an industrialist. And
yeah, he was already a successful.
right, and I think he was too old to be drafted.
He could be if he's that smart, which
Right.
we know he is.
Yes.
So he could have been like, oh yeah, I'm a billionaire by 26.
Yeah,
did
I was
also have-
28 years old, just old enough to not be drafted.
Yes,
Or,
let's
I
say
don't know what
that. Let's say
is,
it was
but
28
yeah.
because we also know that he got his degrees earlier than your standard student. So yeah.
But that means he's 78 now.
Right.
We didn't really save much time.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's say 22. He became Iron Man.
So he's 72.
That's okay. He still shouldn't be whinging that hard about how racked his body is.
Yeah. He also clearly dyes his hair because there's no 72-year-old that has.
That thick and lustrous brown
Yeah.
in his facial and head hair.
I mean, maybe it's just the suit protecting himself from the sun.
Yeah, he just hasn't as much exposure to the outdoors as everybody else. But the trade-off is that he got nerve damage,
Sure. So, I'd say he came out ahead.
right? I mean, 72
Rogaine
good
commercials
years.
are
Come
any
on.
indication.
Is
There's
this-
nothing more important than your hair.
That's right.
Is
I mean,
this Tony Stark the one that has the arc reactor in his
doesn't
chest?
come up?
Okay.
So let's say
Who
no.
knows? Who's to say?
let's say they fix
I don't
that.
see it like sticking through his shirt. So.
No, it doesn't come up.
There's
Right,
no.
so it just powers the
There's
suit.
no visual indication
Yeah.
that he has it in his body.
It's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
But also, he didn't really. Like, that's not a.
That was never a thing.
That was
right?
rarely, if ever, a thing, and especially during the Michelinie Leighton stuff.
Yeah. Okay.
He did not like have a thing in his chest. His body was always being ravaged, though.
The one thing that was consistent
is that he is just
something wrong with his body all the
he's
time.
getting wrecked all the time. Which is why eventually they were like, we have no choice. Like, we need to, of course, ramp it up or do something more devastating than destroying every nerve in his body. So how about he just dies and he just downloads his consciousness into a computer or something. And then he can be a hologram or whatever. Or he grows another body. Or he's in a coma. Like
I can be an anagram of Tony.
I am Tony. Yeah, I mean, it's yes. It's all been done. So anyway, he's like, I gotta get to the site to get my life's work moving. What is my life's work? It's called Operation Big Jump, and Big Jump is a
Called
space
Project
elevator.
Big Jump.
Project, yes, I'm sorry. And Project Big Jump is a space elevator.
Okay.
Also, the acronym is PBJ.
Which
A delicious sandwich.
everyone can get behind. And it's relatable, everybody's got it.
Yeah, it's a good way to hide what it is because it doesn't relate at all to
To space
outer
exploration. Yeah.
I'm sorry, you spent $3.7 trillion on PBJ technology?
No, yeah, that's right. That's right. Every man, woman, and child can enjoy PB&J.
What if I'm allergic to
universal
peanut butter?
constant.
Oh, you'll be okay.
The lowest common denominator.
What?
What? Who?
What are you talking about? Get away from me. Flash. But yeah, he built a space station, and he's like, we're going to send people into space via the elevator.
Right. It'll be cheaper to go to space because instead of a rocket, you just climb
You just get into the thing,
the
and it
ladder.
sends you
The
up.
elevator just goes up.
Yep.
Oh no, the elevator's too expensive. You have to actually climb a ladder. The nice thing is that it gets easier the higher you go.
That's right, yeah. And it's all just good exercise. So he activates the suit. The suit becomes a bigger engine, so he can boost it and go faster to get there. As he's on his way, he ends up assisting with the project because they're still like setting up things under the water around the island situation. And they're like, oh, good thing you're here, Iron Man. No one knows that Tony Stark and Iron Man are one and the same. Still. And I'm like, no. I appreciate that like you want to preserve this concept, but no.
Did they
Give up the ghost.
Yeah, let it go.
where was his continuity or his status quo at this point? Because he had already previously been revealed, right?
We are not doing the end of the current status of Iron Man in 2009.
Okay.
Michelinie and Leighton are doing it almost as though this is the end of our run
From like
from
the
like
80s?
the 80s and 90s.
Okay.
From the 80s.
When he was not known.
to be Iron Man.
Okay.
Which also, I guess,
He
is
was just
why
Tony
there's
Stark's bodyguard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is also why Rhodes isn't War Machine. He's also not alive.
Oh.
But they don't reference War Machine.
I see.
Yeah, Rhodes died too. Off screen, and we don't explain it in any way. And I'm like, okay. Well,
not gonna show
Michelinie
up.
invented Rhodes, so you can kill him too.
Right.
But he also really hated the idea that Rhodes became War Machine. And I'm like, fair enough.
I see.
You were
Yeah.
wrong. War Machine is cool.
Right. So introducing him would have just been
It would just been
problematic here.
Well,
It's
and like
no,
we
no,
only have
just-
so many pages.
Yeah.
We got to end Iron Man.
Right.
So Iron Man arrives to assist with the project, and they're like, you know, the guy's underwater. So Iron Man is using his special Duron beam, which they keep referring to, which means that David Michelinie invented it, and it's the thing that he uses to blast stuff.
Yeah.
And it's like, but
Yeah,
they
but
keep
this is
referring-
copyright.
Yeah, this is Duron.
And the divers are like, oh man, you just did something in like 2 seconds that was taking us hours. Why don't you just do this whole thing?
Right.
It'll be done in like 2 days.
Yeah, and he's like, I can't because I'm also nothing.
Wait. Everyone thinks Iron Man is just a superhero.
Yes.
Why do
is
they
he
think
helping
that Iron Man is helping to build this
Oh, because he's
project?
also on the employ of Tony Stark.
Right, that's true. He does work for Tony.
Yeah, he was his
so-
bodyguard, right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
So I took
Look,
a break
I'll
from
moonlight as an
bodyguarding.
Avenger.
Yeah, no.
But I'm a paid man.
That's
Yeah,
right.
I
that's
do
right.
whatever Mr. Stark tells me to do.
Yeah, I
Somet-
moonlight as an Avenger on my off days, but if,
Yeah.
if Mr. Stark needs me for something, I show up.
Right. Fair.
Okay, you stooge. So anyway, there's an earthquake, and there's some rocks, and they fall, and he's like, oh no! There is a rock falling, and I need to save either some equipment or a person.
Oh no! What a dilemma.
I think it's
What a
like,
dilemma for an industrialist.
I think it's like I need to save a person, like a couple of people who are in scuba suits and a pod full of people. What a hero's dilemma. What am I gonna do? Oh, I know. I'll switch my suit to my Hulkbuster armor and just smash the rock before it lands on them. So he switches suits via the cartoon method, Of just, now it's the Hulkbuster suit. But the Hulkbuster suit isn't sealed for water. So the suit starts filling with water. He's like, oh no, I'm drowning. And you're like, okay, you know what? He's human and he's old.
Right.
He made a mistake.
Why would the suit not be waterproof just because it's Hulkbuster?
Because it's a Hulkbuster suit.
harder.
I'm fighting Hulk on land.
Yeah,
I'm not fighting Namor or
I would
something.
never have to fight Hulk underwater.
Or if
so
I
why
did, I'd
would
fight him with a waterproof version of my suit or something.
Right,
I don't know.
that would be the waterproof Hulkbuster, but I
just
didn't
like-
think I needed to make that version.
I just love it being like, okay.
Oh god! Oh shit!
And he's like, okay, calm down, and then just switch back to having a waterproof suit, which also needs to flush out the water that's already in the suit.
Now I
By the
lost
time
even
this
more
is
time.
over, everyone has
Everyone's
died.
dead, and also, where's your oxygen? You flushed the suit. There's nothing in the suit anymore.
To be fair,
Yes.
he uses his legs to create a jet of water that pushes one of the things out of the way.
That's right.
While
that's
he
right.
rescues the
Yeah,
other
he
one.
bla-
So
yeah,
he's a little
he swoops
cleverness.
in and blasts the rock out of the way to save the other people out of the way.
Yeah, and it was equipment, but there was a guy in that equipment. So it was
Yes.
two different people that were. He had to make an impossible choice.
Yeah,
Is this person
two
in the-
people or one guy?
Yeah.
It's like, geez.
I guess it's not an impossible choice.
Well, no,
he
he-
saved
well,
them
he,
both.
he
he's
saved them
Iron
both.
Man.
Yeah, he figured it out. He did the thing.
Yeah, he did the thing. So, okay. And we're like, whoa, that was tough. And Iron Man's like, I don't buy that this was a natural occurrence.
Right?
So,
Very suspicious.
anyway, I'm going to meet up with my wife, everyone's favorite female Iron Man supporting cast member, Bethany Cabe, because she was invented by David McLeany and Bob Layton. And also, Bethany Cabe, I think, deserves to be held in a higher level of prestige than Pepper Potts,
Oh.
because she actually does stuff in the comics instead of having been retroactively added back into the comics after the movie decided to use her. And Bethany Cabe is a badass. She was a soldier of fortune. She was body swapped with Madame Mask. She
Oh.
was married
Wow.
to a drug addict and then subsequently not hooked up with Tony, then also went back to him and then wanted to divorce him, but then he died.
Oh, I thought Tony was the drug addict.
No, he's an alcoholic. There's a very big difference. But the one, he died, and eventually she was free to marry him, and I guess she does. She's also in Avengers: The Crossing, which is one of the worst books we've ever talked about on the cast. But anyway, so he's married to Bethany Cabe, and you're just like, okay, sure. And I love the idea that, like, okay, it's 2009, the Iron Man movie's out. Iron Man, the comics are very different from when they were written by these guys. And then they're like, hey, you reading these The End books? Iron Man The End. Cool. Who? What?
He's
Why?
married to this person I've never heard of.
Right? And it's like, hey, that's on you. Bethany
Right.
Cabe has periodically appeared in Marvel Comics
Oh, okay.
pretty consistently.
She's a real character.
She's a real character. She's used sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like I dusted her off to get her in the book. I did, but also she has been around. She does technically exist and is usable, and it's not that I even had to do some careful maneuvering or even resurrect her in our alternate timeline. She was not dead. She was useful and deserves to be Iron Man's wife.
So, all right, so she has some legitimacy.
Yeah. And so they're
Great.
married, and she's also aware that he is Iron Man, which good.
Because she's kind of a hero herself.
That's true.
I mean, if you're going to tell one person.
You better tell the person you're married to. You don't want to try to keep that up.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
Does anybody do that?
I mean, Spider-Man did with Gwen.
Yeah, but they didn't
And
get
Gwen
married.
hated him. No, that's true. But it was still like, what are you going to do, Pete? Like,
What's
what
your
are you
end
gonna
game?
do? What's your end game here? She thinks you killed her father. How do you think you're going to unring that bell
Well, I'll
when
just
you
tell her I
eventually
won't.
reveal her? I mean, his
I'll
plan
just wait for her to die.
well, I mean, that was what he did, and it was convenient for him. But before that was on the table, I remember he also took opportunities like, well, maybe I'll just quit being Spider-Man and I'll never have to explain it to her. And I'm like, yeah, except for people going, I wonder what happened to Spider-Man. Or, hey, I was just moving, from our apartment to our place, and I found all your Spider-Man stuff.
I found all these jars with sticky white stuff in it.
Don't touch that!
Well, also, you're in a comic book, so there will be a moment where you have to use your powers to save your life or her life or someone's life.
Yeah.
You don't just stop being Spider-Man. You're going to see someone in
Yep,
mortal
and
peril,
and you're gonna have to do
and you're gonna have
something.
to do something.
You're going to have lied to her longer than you were together. Like,
Right.
it doesn't even matter if she gets over the concept of Spider-Man murdering her father.
Right.
Then it's, I married a liar
Right. Someone who consistently lied to me
about something
about
very
who
important.
they are.
Yeah. because they thought I was a dope.
Yeah.
Or they
Yeah.
just thought I was so emotionally immature I couldn't handle it.
That would be bad enough if it was for a couple of months.
It would be bad enough if it was because you had 2 cell phones.
Yeah.
And this is you being Spider-Man.
Well, it's for like deeply, deeply selfish reasons.
Oh, yeah.
Because you didn't want to confront the fact that I didn't like your alter ego.
If
Because they killed my dad.
Well,
or
if I
believe
revealed
they
to
did.
you that I was Spider-Man and you were still under the misapprehension that I killed your father, you wouldn't have sex with me anymore.
But if I told you I
well,
was
that's
Spider-Man and I told you that your dad didn't die by my hand,
Right, but she saw how he died.
Yeah.
And it's not because of Spider-Man, but it is indirectly, as it always is. So Stark is talking to his wife, and more or less the conversation is
Bethany?
Bethany.
Bethany.
That's right.
Okay.
And so the conversation is more or less just like, hey, don't push yourself too hard and stop being Iron Man because it's killing you. And he's like, it already killed me. Like, I'm already on death's door. I already have a terminal diagnosis that I flagrantly disregard and only flippantly refer to. So I'm more confused about like the stakes.
Yes. I might
Right.
have 3 years left.
Yes, it's like
If I quit being Iron Man now, I might have
3.5.
2.
Yeah, no, it's.
No,
I'm
you
sorry,
have-
I might have
4.
3.5.
Yeah.
Or 4.
I think the idea is he has 2 or something like that. He's like, I have a
Great.
year, maybe 2 left
Right.
before I die.
So I figured, why not just die sooner?
Well, no,
I'm
he's
gonna
like-
die anyway. When does it matter?
He's like,
Die doing what you love.
He's like, I need to be Iron Man because Iron Man is needed, but also I need to finish my life's work, which is this big jump project. And so I need to kind of like pick one or the other, but I also
Pick the project.
well, I have. I've chosen the project, but like Iron Man stuff keeps happening.
But yeah, things keep happening that force me to be a superhero.
Well, and especially this case where like something threatened Big Jump, and so I need to be Iron Man to solve this problem.
I'll kill 2 birds with 1 stone.
And I'm both birds.
I saved 2 birds with 1 stone earlier.
That's true. That's true.
That sounds
or from one
like-
stone anyway.
That
So-
sounds like rationalization.
Well, I mean, that's all I am. So anyway, they have like a fight, and he's like curt to her, and so she leaves.
She's like, I don't want you to die.
he's like, I'm going to anyway.
Yeah, but the more time we have, the better, right?
I
Are you so
guess.
desperate to get away from me?
No.
that you'll kill yourself by being Iron Man more than you need to?
Yeah, more or less.
You bastard.
Yeah, that's me.
I need a legacy, and apparently it's more than you.
yeah,
It's
big time.
definitely not you.
Well, you're just as old as I am. So
Wow.
he's curt to her, and then she leaves, and he's like, I want to say something, but I don't because I'm a jerk. Anyway, so Project Big Jump is underway, and they're doing their thing, and I end up like kind of coming up with some ideas. And there's this other character named Nick Travis who's a young buck, and he's super smart, and he's got all these ideas, and he's like a young Tony Stark, and thankfully he works for Stark Industries, and he's already got the hero worship down. He like loves and worships Tony Stark and wants his approval and everything, and he's just so innovative and smart. And
Oh, Nick, I'd be so proud of you as if you were my son. I am your son.
so Stark promotes Nick, and he's like, whatever you're doing and like innovation and stuff, that's done. You are like my head technologist or whatever. Like I need to start divesting myself from the company so I can focus all my energies on making sure that like Katy Perry can be in space for 11 minutes. He's
Ripped
like,
from the headlines.
right? that's what we
Is
do.
the world
That's what
outside
we're
your
doing
door?
here.
Nothing's safe here at ComicPop. And Stark could focus entirely on Big Jump, and he is, but also, he's got nerve damage, so it's like slower, and he's just like reminded. But every once in a while, you'll see him like shaking, and he's like, oh no, I'm gonna die soon. You're like, right, thank you for reminding me.
Right, got
And
it.
then he moves on. And so they're like, okay, we found out that the earthquake was induced, it was not naturally occurring, and we know that it was facilitated by a company called Krychek, but not Alex Krychek from X-Files, a different company.
How do you know that?
Because it's a shell company, it doesn't really exist. And it is a subsidiary of Roxxon. And yeah, that twisted Roxxon
arch
corporation.
nemesis.
You're like, yep, of course you're gonna have to put Roxxon in here.
Yep.
But it's actually coming from Russia, and so I need to go there and punch whoever's screwing around. Because more or less, like, I could file an injunction, like I could talk to the UN or do something.
Right.
And it'll take months, and they'll just keep blowing shit up.
Yeah.
And it'll just delay until I eventually die, and they'll never do big jumps. So like, I gotta go to
Or
Russia.
my project coordinators or my teammates are all going to die because they're going to be crushed by rocks.
Exactly,
Right.
exactly. No one will be around to facilitate my immortality. And so he flies to Russia as Iron Man and ends up bumping into the new Crimson Dynamo, but he's not the Crimson Dynamo. He's the Ultra Dynamo because he's slightly bigger than the old Crimson Dynamo. They also reveal his name, and it's like Arkady Vostok, and it means nothing, and he's not from anywhere. Like, I just love that they're like, Arcady Vostok, the Ultra Dynamo! And I'm like, you just said two things, and neither of them existed before this book.
And I don't care.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it is kind of like a reference.
Right.
Because he is Russian. That's a Russian-sounding name.
Yes, and he used to be the Crimson Dynamo in this universe. That is not the regular universe. They're just like, no, I got souped up.
Okay.
So Iron Man's like, all right, well, I'm gonna have to take out the Ultra Dynamo. And so he uses some old tricks, but the Ultra Dynamo's like, but I'm prepared for your old tricks. What?
Because we fought so many times before?
Yeah, well, and I'm more prepared. And so eventually he ends up getting the upper hand on Iron Man, and then uses a frequency to revert his liquid tech suit back to liquid. And there's this spectacular sequence where he grabs him and like shakes the energy into him, and you can see the suit just kind of like melting off of him.
Oh God!
Oh, thank God that suit. I thought it was blood.
Yeah, no, it's the suit itself. Like, it's destabilizing. But then he throws him against a tree, and it restabilizes. And,
Why would you do that? Why would you let him go?
Right? Well, because he's like, I don't know. And then,
I don't want to kill you.
Right. And Iron Man's like, oh fuck, I gotta get out of here. So he leaves.
Interesting. So the guy lets him go, or just f's up?
He just screws up. He's just like, I'm a villain, so
I
I'm
threw him
gonna
against a
throw
tree.
you.
That was supposed to be the end of the fight. He's supposed to lose.
At the very least, it was supposed to like knock him out or keep him occupied.
We play game of cat and moose.
It's mouse. Vostok.
Not in Russia. In
Oh,
Russia, moose chase after cat. It's gruesome.
And Moose chase after everybody.
Yeah, it's gruesome.
You could have said moose and anything.
I mean, I could have.
Yeah.
Same.
I just don't know why you pick cats. They're not like any way connected with moose. It's just a weird thing to say.
Okay, moose and anyone.
I mean, it sounds like you said moose because it sounds like mouse.
Yes.
Okay. Anyway, I'm gonna get out of here. So he flies away. He goes to the doctor. The doctor's like, "You're killing yourself." He's like, "Shut up." So then he leaves. And you're like, "Okay, whatever. That was a great sequence."
Yeah, man, like hitting the slopes too hard. I wiped out on
Yeah, right. Exactly.
on a black diamond.
Base jumping and whatnot.
It's so weird. It's like you had liquid metal like sloughing off of you at times.
It's like you were thrown against a tree.
Yeah, on my skis or something.
Yeah.
I don't even think he gives a lame excuse. We didn't even bother. And I'm like,
Yeah.
good.
His doctor knows. He's like, I know
So you're Iron
Iron Man,
Yeah.
knock it off.
What?
Look, I'm just saying, stop being Iron Man.
Right.
If you're Iron Man.
If you were Iron
Okay,
Man.
well, because I'm not.
Right.
Sure.
Right.
Bethany put you up to this? Yes.
Bethany has told everybody, but she didn't have to.
Do you know how much she paid me to tell you to stop being Iron Man?
Exactly. Yeah. All of her errands.
I don't believe Iron Man with Bethany because she is age appropriate
I know.
for him.
I know. Isn't that weird? I made the
like-
same realization when I read it. I was like, this is odd
Yeah.
and totally appropriate, which is inappropriate for Iron Man.
Right.
Or at least my understanding of Iron Man, which is why it's like, oh, cool. Look at Michelini and Layton being like, no.
Yeah, he grew
No,
up.
this is love.
Yeah. And she might be several years younger
She's
than him,
younger
but she's
than
still
him. She's technically younger than him.
yeah, but she's still like aged.
Aged.
Yeah. She's definitely in like her 40s at least.
Right.
Yeah, but you can also like kill him with her pinky.
Yeah, that's true. Well, especially now. But she's also a MILF.
True.
They have kids?
No.
No.
Then no.
So she's
Well,
technically
she's
not
got
a MILF.
it's an honorary title. Listen, in porn, any woman over the age of 19 is a MILF.
It's ma'am. It's ma'am I'd like to fuck.
Yeah, the M stands for something else.
Oh, there's the new Captain America.
Yep.
It's a girl.
Whoa!
Is that Hulk? Is he gray?
No,
No,
that's
that's
Colossus or Beast and Colossus, who's also a different guy.
Yeah, they're all different people.
What?
Because it's later in time.
Right.
And
Everybody else
So
stopped.
why is there a Colossus?
well, why is there a Colossus in Wolverine Revenge? There's two of those.
It's
Unfortunately.
just someone who has his same mutation or a slightly different one, but
Yeah.
he took the name?
I guess
Yeah,
is
probably. It's a legacy character.
I see.
it their kid? Is that what happens? Because that's not what happened to Wolverine's
There's-
kids.
No.
There's always a Colossus.
There's always going to be.
Just like there's always a Beast.
And always a
There's
Captain America. Even though that Captain America isn't blonde or a man or Steve Rogers.
But
Also,
that's
there's
a super soldier serum. You could give that to him.
That's true.
But they're also rare. It's rare to get that. You can't just knock out a super soldier serum.
There also shouldn't always be a Beast. That's a very specific mutation.
Yeah. It's not like, oh, in every iteration of the X-Men, there is going to be a Cyclops, Angels, Jean Grey, Iceman, and Beast. Like, They don't need to always have to have a one-to-one.
Those are just the powers that those people got.
Yeah, this is just to show you. Oh, thank God! There's another kid with a mutation where he's blue and also could
Get
like
him.
be acrobatic.
Get him
I hope
now.
you're really smart.
Yeah, you better be smart.
I'm not.
Well, just pretend.
Start
Hit
hitting
the
the
books.
books. Yeah.
Yeah, put these glasses on and
Let me just cram you into that pigeonhole.
you're Beast.
Talk to Niles for a
You're
little while.
Beast now. I don't like Beast. That's a stupid name. Well,
Well, I'm sorry, but
you're blue and you look like a cat, so there you go.
or not.
Not
Also,
this one.
Spider-Man is there.
Yeah.
And
Hey, I have see-through skin. It's kind of crystal and blue. You're gonna be Iceman. This isn't ice
crystals.
powers. This is crystals.
Yeah,
All right,
well-
Iceman.
Shut up, Iceman. Also, Spider-Man's in this. He's part of the roster, and I guess the new version of Spider-Man decided to drop the hyphen, but keep the exact same costume. So,
So he's Spiderman.
Spiderman. He's Leroy Spiderman. David Michelinie wrote Spider-Man for a long time. He
So
invented Venom.
So he knows.
He
that
should
Spider-Man
know
has a
damn well where
hyphen.
that hyphen goes.
So this is a deliberate choice.
This is clearly the letterer.
Yep.
And it's like, look, I don't need the names under there. I know what I'm looking at here.
You don't
It's
even need to
Spider-Man.
put it there.
But someone needed to
But
put
if you're
it
gonna
there.
put it there, don't mess it up.
Don't mess it up. It's just weird. Anyway, the reason why we're even talking about this is because Stark is like, okay, that was horrible. What happened to me? And so I guess my wife is all right. I'm going to stop being Iron Man. I got to find a worthy successor. And I love him looking through the superhero community. Like, hey there, Beast. I know that you were chosen to be a replacement for the previous Beast, but you're Iron Man now. Like, what? What kind of selection process is this? He's just looking at every superhero, and this is an excuse to show you that the superhero community still is alive and well and thriving in the Iron Man the Endiverse.
Right.
So sure.
But nobody. But these are already people.
They're
These
already
are
established. We don't
characters.
need to be Iron Man too.
And all of them have powers.
Yeah.
Iron Man never did.
No.
That's what made him special.
Well, that's what makes me special as Iron Man. But what if it was like Iron Man, but also he's Iceman? Like, who cares? He doesn't go with any of them, by the way.
good.
What the hell is this? There's regular Captain America in here.
That's because we're using stock photos that are available. Like, that's a picture of Wonder Man from the issue of Wonder Man #1. That's a picture of Winter Soldier from an issue of Captain America. Like,
Yeah.
these are all just images. That's
Here's
Ms.
Ms.
Marvel.
Marvel.
From
That's just-
a cover from Ms. Marvel.
Yeah.
#1.
Here are all your trading cards.
Yeah, but when we show the close-up, it's completely different characters.
Yeah. Well, maybe I'm looking at like the old files, and these are like the updated files.
All right, show me the superheroes. No, the ones who are still alive.
Exactly. See, computers are still stupid in like the 2050s or whatever.
I don't
So
understand.
it's gonna be the guy from his company.
He says
Nick?
he
Yeah.
says he's
Yeah.
studied personnel files from SU's Worldwide Holdings as he's looking at images of superheroes. It's like they just put the wrong picture.
Well, I don't want to show all these random. I don't want to draw regular people, hundreds of regular people.
But that's not what he's saying in the box.
yeah,
Your image is not related to the text that's being displayed on that panel.
yeah, that's right. We just screwed the hell
And that
up.
happens all the time in comics.
Yeah, but also I drew those superheroes.
I know, but then you drew a different version of those superheroes, even though you showed the
Yeah.
current version of
No.
them in the previous
I think-
panel.
I think-
Whoa,
that-
whoa, whoa, whoa. You're assuming that
Yeah.
these are the wrong images. What if it's just so small you can't
What if
tell?
there's just two Captain Americas? Or what if Captain America changed his name? So, because you can't read the text
Yeah.
in the first
And
one
he did
where
do
you can
that in
see
an Iron Man
Captain
book.
America.
He was the captain at that
Yeah,
time.
so
Wasn't
he's
he
he's like
Nomad?
General
He's been
America.
both.
That's General America that you see in that little box. This is
Yeah.
Captain America here.
Yeah, exactly.
Who's a girl.
It's a whole
That's actually
AmeriCorps now.
Captain Americana.
Yeah, she loves memorabilia. So yeah, I think what happened was it's two panels. The first panel was he was looking at his
Just
personnel.
files. Yeah.
And the second panel is like, maybe I'll jump to superheroes.
Yeah. That's what he says.
And
And then
we
they
just screwed up.
They just
Well,
screwed
as you
up.
can tell, one is drawn and the other one is superimposed. So you
Right.
can tell, like,
Yep.
I don't know, maybe.
Someone's like, then we're gonna have to draw all new little pictures of just regular people and put it in there. That's boring.
Right.
Just use these ones we already have.
and I don't want to go the Neil Adams route and just sit down and draw a million regular people and then ask permission to get those people.
Right.
And I can't use them.
Right,
and then
these
I'll just
people I
put
don't have to
mustaches
ask.
on all of them.
We already own all these.
Yeah, we
faces.
own all those photos.
Yeah,
And
so
it's like, yeah, but you're just looking at like old superhero photos. Moving on. He decides none of those are worthy of Iron Man. And so anyway, he goes to Nick and he's like, "Hey Nick, you're Iron Man now. I'm Iron Man, by the way." And Nick is like, "What? I'm surprised."
you just dumped a lot on me.
Yes, he's like, "I am Iron Man, and so are you." And he's like,
But now you are.
"So what do you say?" And Nick's like, "No."
May I?
I'm not doing that. That's dangerous.
Yeah, he's like, you have horrible, debilitating nerve damage from being Iron Man. You're gonna die prematurely in the far-flung future. I have a promising career. You just gave me a friggin' promotion like a few days ago.
Oh, yeah, you're not that anymore. Now you're Iron Man.
Now you're Iron Man. I don't want to do any of those things, and I hate that. Like,
Right.
I'm not interested. And Stark's like, I could destroy you. I could ruin your life.
What?
I could pick you apart. Like, I could fire you and blacklist you from every industry and just force you to be Iron Man. How about that? And he's like, wow, I guess the whole hero worship thing was misguided for me because you're a monster. And he's like, I'm sorry. You know what? That was just the nerve damage talking. I am actually not that bad.
Okay, that was a test, and you passed.
Congratulations. I'm not
So
like that.
you can be Iron Man.
You can totally be Iron Man.
No, I don't want that.
No. Congratulations, Iron Man. And he's like, Jesus H. Christ, that's really
messed
extreme.
up.
And I'm like, what are you doing? But it's like, it's pretty consistent with Stark, who lashes out only with the people he cares about the most.
Right. I was so sure that you were going to accept graciously and be thankful that you throwing it back in my face.
It freaked me
I
out.
freaked out a little bit.
Nick's response is just, back in college, you were my idol. I used to quote you in class. But if this is how a hero behaves in real life, I want no part of it. Wow. And he's like, you know what?
Ouch.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. Come here. Flash.
I can't have you walking around.
Yeah.
So he dumps.
You know what? Let's start over. Hi, I'm Tony.
Hi, I'm not working here anymore.
Oh, that's a mistake, my friend. It's
You'll
an
live to regret
opportunity
it.
of a lifetime. And I could crush you.
Never forget.
No, sorry, I didn't mean that.
I didn't
I
mean
gotta
like
stop
that.
doing that. Okay.
Anyway, I will crush you.
Yeah.
That's so weird.
It's really
he
weird.
seems so chill.
Yeah. And then he's like, no! Yeah! He literally is like, yeah, man, I get enough excitement just hang gliding on my day off. I'm not interested in that. Thanks, but no thanks. And he's like, thanks! I just told you my greatest secret, and I showed you my shame, my weakness, and you betray me like this? And he's like, whoa.
Yeah, he calls it his shame and his weakness.
Well, it's like my shame of I have to stop being Iron Man. Like, I'm so weak,
Like,
I
I'm
can't be Iron
ashamed
Man.
that I have to ask you to do this.
Yes. And he goes, look, let's start over. Just put the suit on for like a minute and try it out. You
Just
said you
put
like
it
hang
on,
gliding.
okay? Just wear the suit, okay?
Just try it on.
Just work here, okay?
And after you put it on, I'll lock it so that you can never be out of it.
Exactly. And they'll give you debilitating nerve damage, and you'll never be able to take it off, and you'll need it to live.
And also, like, I won't let you be in control. I'll just put an AI program in there, but you'll still be inside.
But I need a
forever
human
being
there.
Iron Man.
Your corpse will be in there. There needs to be a body in there. It doesn't have to be you. It'll just be my personality in a robot.
Oh, God.
That's horrific.
Oh, this is terrible. He's all Tronish.
Yeah, he's got to be the new Iron
Yeah,
Man.
Nick is like, so Nick tries on the suit, and they go through a rigorous training regimen. So Nick's Iron Man. Like, Nick at no point says yes. And then Stark just says, well, let's just do
Okay, well, you're gonna
let's just
put
do
on
a
the suit.
quick training run.
Let's just do the thing I said anyway.
Yeah. And he's like, all right, 2 days are spent in the simulator pretending to be Iron Man. And he's like, all right, now we're at the hangar, put on the suit and be Iron Man. And he puts it on, and Nick immediately transforms the suit, because it's like liquid tech or whatever, into a cooler future version of Iron Man.
And Tony's like,
With his brain?
no.
Yeah.
No, I don't like this.
Like it interfaces with it.
Turn it back.
So that's not what
make it
Iron Man
real.
looks like, though.
Iron Man doesn't look like that. That looks like bullshit.
Yeah, I'm not
Also, I
Iron
can
Man.
see your
I'm
face.
a different guy.
No, he just says like, wow, like, this is cool. Way to go. So then he tries it out. He smashes into the ceiling. He's like, all right, get up. Let's do this again. Like, you don't yell at this guy. You just yelled at him before. You almost quit. Like, what
Yeah,
are you
it's
doing?
tough love. I got to toughen him up.
That's what
Yeah.
a good boss
He's
does.
weak.
This is time I should be spending on Big Jump. Don't waste my time.
Oh my God.
Like, good Lord, man.
Jesus,
asshole.
you're going a little. You're coming a little strong, Tony.
Yeah.
It's like, no, that's what he needs.
Right? But this, of course, immediately infects.
If you can't
Nick.
handle me yelling at you, how are you going to handle the Mandarin?
Right.
It's like, I don't want to.
I don't want to do any of those things. I want to have weekends off. I want a 401k.
I said no.
I said no.
Please stop.
But I am really enjoying
Is he?
like snapping tanks in half and stuff.
Well, that's the
so.
thing. It's like once you have a taste of that power,
We
then
didn't
you'll
say
understand.
that. He just says like, I spent my evenings doing what I could to make Big Jump work, while Nick filled his time tweaking the armor. Like, that was it. Just Nick's like, nah, the armor could use a couple of changes. So he makes a few changes. And meanwhile, he's also like being Iron Man and kicking ass and doing just training exercises.
Okay.
And so he does this training exercise. We got 6 targets. And he's like, all right, I got this 6 targets, 6 kills. And then another target like goes and shoots him in the back. And he's like, what the absolute fuck? I said 6 targets. I stopped 6 of them. And then a 7th one shot me. And Tony's like, yeah, that's like how Dr. Doom operates, man. Like, you're going to need to be prepared. Like, no one's going to be fair to you, least of all me, your hero. And he's like, this is horseshit. He goes, look, you know what? If you get a fresh perspective on reality, give me a call. Leave.
Oh my god.
He's like, well, that was fun. I guess that was a neat little experience where I spent 3 days away from my wife helping this kid learn that he definitely shouldn't be Iron Man. So then
which I knew because he didn't want to.
Yep. So anyway, he's like, all right, Bethany is at the island where they're doing Big Jump because Big Jump's launch is going to be today.
Oh.
And is it today? It's today. So Big Jump's going to be today. And so he's like, hey, Bethany, I'm going to be there in a little bit. I just got to deal with Nick.
What
And
happened with the earthquakes? Did they just stop with the earthquake attacks?
Sure.
Yes.
But he didn't. He went to
didn't do
Russia
anything.
to stop it, and then he realized he couldn't.
Well, maybe he like made a call to the State Department and like had them deal with it for the most part.
I acted like it was going to be like a month-long process. It actually just took a couple days.
Yeah, it was surprising. It's amazing what you do if you're a billionaire.
Then why did you think you had to fly over there? I just wanted to punch someone.
Yeah, and I did.
That's the thing. Bethany's right.
But I got my ass kicked. So anyway, Nick comes back as Stark is like trying to leave and go to his wife, and Nick's like, "Hey man, listen, like I'm really sorry. Like I didn't mean to yell at you." And it's like, "You are not the person who should be apologizing."
Yeah, jeez, Dick.
And I love it because he's like,
boy.
"Hey, listen, I need to talk to you." And he's like, "Not now." Like, "Oh my God, you have an opportunity here to apologize to your surrogate son here." And he's
Why
like,
would
"No."
I apologize? I didn't do anything wrong.
And he says,
He's the one who should apologize. He sucks. He should apologize for getting shot in the back. He should apologize
keep it
for
at 6.
losing his concentration for a second.
Yeah. And I love Stark is clearly like, maybe you're not cut out to be Iron Man. Like he goes,
Yeah.
I appreciate that, Nick, and I admit my judgment's kind of shaky of late. I thought I could have sworn you were. You know what? We'll talk after the launch.
Oh.
Like,
he's
yeah.
like, this is not working.
It's not working out.
I'm taking it back.
Yeah.
I'm taking the suit back.
You know what? It's not working out. Let's have the suit back.
Okay, sure. Yeah, that's not reverse psychology or anything.
So anyway, then the alarm goes off, and Ultra Dynamo's here, and he's like, "Hey, I'm not gonna wait for you to come back to Russia. I'm just gonna kick your ass here. Let's go."
Right.
Oh, it's so weird that you found out where I was.
What?
Oh my God. You think Stark like called Ultra Dynamo?
Yes.
Yeah, that'd be amazing. And I think maybe he subtexted it, but like in the main book, like there's no indication that he is. He's pretty surprised that Ultra Dynamo's here. And Ultra Dynamo's like, wow, Tony Stark's here. No Iron Man. This will be easy for me to crush you.
Where's your bodyguard?
Everyone's in on the joke except for Iron Man. Iron Man's like, oh no, he might have found out my secret. Might have? Everyone knows. So a couple of security forces try to take out Ultra Dynamo. Ultra Dynamo, like, kills them.
Does a Hulk move?
Yep. He does a thunderclap move, and I'm like,
Yeah.
don't do that. First of all, that's metal. That's not gonna.
It's not your move.
It's not the same
Yeah, also,
thing.
yeah.
But
Wham! I broke my hands.
yeah, exactly. They shatter. Stark like drives his car into the Ultra Dynamo, and he's like, okay, I'm just gonna have to fight him as Iron Man. I don't even have my suit. Like I put it in the other room with Nick, and then Nick dons the suit and fights Ultra Dynamo, and so they battle. And Ultra Dynamo's like, well, I already knew all your tricks. I made the suit melt off of Tony before, so here we go. I'm going to use all those tricks that I used on Iron Man and his suit that I know you have, even though you look a little different.
Even though it's not the same
You
suit,
look like a
but
fucking
okay.
space alien or whatever. But I'll
It's
use
okay.
those-
Tony had like a million different.
Yeah, I'm sure
versions
it's
of
the same thing.
Yeah, exactly.
It's
And
just a
so
variant.
he fires his shit, and it doesn't work because Nick upgraded the suit.
Oh.
Nick's better than Tony.
He made a few modifications of his own.
That's exactly right. I was gonna make that joke and I forgot to do it. So they fight, and Ultra Dynamo like grabs New Iron Man, and then New Iron Man just makes Ultra Dynamo's suit just like come off of him, like it dematerializes.
How do you like it?
Yeah, yeah.
How?
It's actually funny you asked because so did Ultra Dynamo. He goes, "How did you do this? Tell me."
My new suit is made of new vibranium.
Yeah.
That stuff that
Yeah,
destroys metal.
Oh, new form.
New form.
New
That's
form.
it.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
That'd be awesome. So anyway, they arrest Ultra Dynamo, and I love that Iron Man's like, "I'll just call the local police department to arrest him. He's just a guy."
Right.
And I think
It's like a crappy jumpsuit.
he like flew here, so he probably doesn't have his visa. You might want to talk to the
Yeah.
INS about
State
this guy.
Department's gonna have a field day with this
That's
guy.
right. So he goes away, and and Tony Stark is like, "Okay, that was great, but like, what the hell?"
Yeah.
And he goes, "Oh, I made some alterations of my own, Tony. I didn't tell you because I figured you were pissed off at me already." And he explains, nanites added to the smart metal block the Dynamo's liquid command. Another program allowed those nanites to absorb matter from other sources. I'm like, don't explain. I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
How you managed to make his suit dematerialize.
No, I thought about it.
No, but
how that
Tony
would happen,
cares.
and, like,
Yeah,
it's
Tony
very-
does care, but
very
like,
technical.
but I don't.
Well, I, the reader, don't. It's like I installed a thing that would do that.
But what's important is you know that Nick is great at being Iron Man
Right.
and smart enough
He
to
thought of
be
something even Tony didn't think.
Also, people finally saw Iron Man and Tony Stark in
the
the
same
same place
place.
at the same time.
That's fair. Yeah. And they didn't need Jim Rhodes to do it. So they go to the Jim Rhodes Memorial launch site where they're going to fire the first elevator.
Oh.
And everyone's like, and they have a big press conference, and Stark's like, I'm here to let you guys know that me and Bethany are leaving Earth forever. We're going to get in the elevator, we're never going to come back down. Even though we can, and it's very safe to use. So don't, don't think twice about it.
Right.
But technically up there, the U.S. can't tax me.
Because I'm not on American soil.
He says something like, low gravity is better for my old bones. And I'm like,
Oh. There's less strain on your joints.
yeah, but isn't it also like worse for you?
It's worse in every other way.
It's so bad for your body. Your body was designed for gravity.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And also, aren't you like not shielded by the ozone layer, so you could easily get more readily available cancer by being out in space?
Cosmic rays.
Yeah.
It depends on how high he goes.
It's pretty high.
Yeah. So the thing that shields you from cosmic rays is actually the magnetic field.
I see.
Right, so the ozone ray protects you from UV, which would be a problem, but you could block that with windows, right? You could have
Okay,
special windows that filter the UV.
Well, they better have those.
The radiation that you can't block with windows is deflected by the magnetic field, which, yeah,
They don't
probably
have.
they're not above the magnetic field. So I would say because it goes pretty far. Although actually I take that back because it's a space elevator that's over a single point on the surface, which means the other end of it has to be in geosynchronous orbit.
Yes.
In order to stay, and geosynchronous orbit is quite far, and so I feel like that. Yes, you would have a radiation problem. I would have to look it up to be sure, but I'm pretty sure, yeah, that would not be a good place to be.
I just love the ocean of faces.
What if it was?
Look at
it's
how
like
he's like, I'm leaving, and they're like, oh, and they're like, I would not be this affected.
It's like
No,
he's
they
fucking
don't
Bilbo
care.
Baggins. This is the end.
I'm going now.
I'm going now. Farewell.
maybe they were just like, do we get to go too?
No.
We're at the launch site.
Yeah, you're gonna watch me leave forever.
You're leaving the Earth forever.
But
Yeah.
it's an elevator.
That's-
Right, you can just come back
They
down.
just come back
and
down.
I could just go up.
Yeah, that was like me graduating from college being like, I'm leaving Virginia forever! And then I just drove away, and I just hope that I never end up back in that state again. Like, that's not
Because
how
I
that
said it.
works.
I said I would
I said
never
it.
be
I said I
back.
would never
Yep.
be back, because I made that cockamamie promise for no reason.
Yep. That's the look on their face. Like, why would you say that?
Yeah.
Why would you pigeonhole
easily
yourself?
reversible thing.
It's going to be awkward when you decide you want to come back,
Yeah.
but you told everyone you weren't.
Right? Like, what if you run out of Cheetos? You're gonna come back down.
What if you run out of air?
Well, that's also true. What if there's a fire up there?
Where are you getting food? There's no soil.
Yeah,
I don't
you're-
understand.
Yeah. What's even up there anyway?
Right.
Like, what is that station?
well, the other end of the elevator.
Yeah, I know, but like, what is the station? We see the space station, and it's just another launching
Yeah, like,
pad for
what
like
does it
further
do?
space exploration. But like, it's still
I guess it's just like a hub for ships.
yeah, it's at best it's a docking bay.
Yeah. That's what it is.
I don't see any terrariums or gardens.
Right.
No, I have to ship everything up via this one elevator. It's a very important elevator. If it breaks, we are screwed.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm just going to work on it. I'm just going to be the guy that makes sure the elevator always works.
great, but you're also dying.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll train someone.
So anyway, they leave, and he's like, "But I'm not gonna leave. But I am leaving something behind." And then Iron Man flies by, and they're like, "Yeah, well, we figured you would because you're not Iron Man."
He's your bodyguard. Why would he go to space with you?
Yeah.
Do his bones have a problem?
Are you Iron Man though? Like, what the fuck? So anyway, Iron Man flies in, and he like in this unrehearsed, uncoordinated publicity stunt. He's like, Iron Man began as a corporate symbol, but now he can be something more. And I'm like, he always was. What?
He hasn't been a corporate symbol since like the second issue of Iron Man or whatever. Like, what?
Yeah, like, what are you talking about?
Do you remember when he was an Avenger?
Yes,
Yeah.
on both teams.
Most of us remember that. That's how most of us know Iron Man. What
It's
are you talking
2009.
about?
Everyone on Earth knows him as that.
Oh, right, but he'll always be a corporate symbol to me.
Yeah.
Until now, when he's not.
Right.
But he always was up until this moment.
Whoa. No, he's still a corporate symbol. No, he is still owned by Stark Universal.
Right, that's true. So anyway, they leave, and on their way up, Bethany says, "Oh, you're leaving because of Roxxon, aren't you?" And he's like, "Mostly." That's when I finally realized that the armor is on the surface. It's just another suit of clothes. All I've accomplished in the last half-century being Iron Man and Stark Industries and stuff, this stupid elevator, it's all dreamed into existence by the man inside the suit. Actually, I'm important and cool, and Tony Stark is looking forward to the future in Iron Man: The End, the last story that I'm ever going to be in. And it's like, what?
What's the last story where he's Iron
But
Man?
also, what does that have to do? What is realizing that you're special, something you always are used to thinking, have anything to do with you realizing that Roxxon was behind the sabotage?
Right. And what does going into space have to do with it?
I guess like they
They
can't
can't get
me
me in
there.
space?
Sure they
I
can.
beg to differ.
There's a big part of your space station that's still attached to Earth.
Yeah,
I bet it's
what, they can't get in
really
the
sensitive to
elevator?
earthquakes.
Yeah, like what is Iron Man just going to be like a statue that stands directly in front of the elevator and protects it at all
Stops
times?
anyone from going in who might work for Roxxon. Also, aren't they like a defense contractor? Like, don't they have like missiles and stuff that can go into space to hit your station?
Yeah.
Like, I don't understand how that's a solution to anything.
The end.
It takes a true narcissist to conclude that all he had to do was believe in himself or whatever. Or the lesson is that, like, I'm actually a genius and I can do whatever I want.
Yeah.
And, you know.
I do like those moments in Iron Man books where he like realizes he could do whatever. It's like that moment at the end of Back to the Future where Doc's like, "Yeah, I just figure what the hell." You know, like, I just threw all my morals. That was the first time in fiction as a child that I ever recognized you could just throw away your integrity. And no one would be mad at you for it. Like that they were like, your arbitrary rules that you set up because of a plot reason are just bullshit and you could just ignore them too.
Marty, you can't change things!
Yeah, like, oh, okay. That really makes me sad, but I guess that's true. No, it isn't. I figured, you know what, you tried really hard. It might be important. I read it, I'm like, oh shit, I will be shot by terrorists. You know what, that's a good point. I'll wear a bulletproof vest.
Also, hey, I'm getting laid now.
Yeah, that's in the third one. You're not getting laid right now. You're not getting laid for a long time, Doc.
Yeah, but I can save her. I can change history.
Yeah, great job, Doc. You are a bastion of integrity, aren't you? We can't change the future, but I can bring a woman from the past into the future.
Yeah. Well, because she was supposed to be dead. I
Right.
already changed the future by keeping
Keeping her
accidentally
alive
keeping her
in
alive.
that timeline, giving her children, and then inevitably, 10 years later, building a time machine out of a locomotive.
Yeah, like, but she was around and she talked to people and stuff. Oh no, Marty, we had to go live in a cave. We couldn't talk to anybody or interact with anybody to preserve the timeline.
What a fun life that must have been. What a waking nightmare poor Claire Clayton must have lived every single day of her life.
Oh, my children are forever scarred.
Yeah. Well, don't worry. The children went to public school in the year 2055. Like.
Right. Yeah. By the time they needed to go to school, I had the time machine built, so
Yes.
they were fine. Sure, they were secluded for the first 5 years of their lives.
They're a little weird, as you could tell at the end of Back to the Future 3.
I mean, they may not have been going to school at that point, but you can bet damn sure they knew how to till a field.
That's right.
Well, I mean, here's the thing. I'm a scientist, so I just homeschooled them. I'm genius. So
That's
like
true. What better education could they get than from Doc Brown?
from Doc Brown, right? Socially, yeah, there's
Oh, no,
some
they're going to be a little
problems.
hair, but
Yeah.
that's because, who isn't?
Yeah,
Careful, they bite.
We're gonna enroll them in.
They also want you to look at their wiener. Iron Man: The End is just a kind of button at the end of the Michelini-Leighton era, and it's like that. If you look at it like that, it's still kind of silly, but does tonally fit lockstep with that run. Like, if you are going back and doing like a reread of their run, end it with this, and you'll be like, "Yup."
Yeah, that works for that Iron
works.
Man.
But Marvel was like, "Psh, we're just selling the end. Anyone's gonna buy it. I don't care what's between the covers. Just put whatever." It's just weird. I'm like, you know what? Since this is not really technically Iron Man: The End, and it's more like a redo on these guys getting to finish their run, do another one. Right?
Yeah.
Or give every seminal Iron Man writer a chance to do their The End. In fact, do that for everybody. There's a Captain America The End, and it has no business existing whatsoever. I've never seen anything like it before in my life. I was like, I picked that up. I was like, oh man, this is gonna be great. I was like, this is like reading All-Star Batman. I was like,
Oh, God.
Oh, Jesus.
Oh,
Oh,
my
no.
God.
Oh.
And I was like, looking at the creative team, and I'm like, why is this the creative team on Captain America: The End? And I think it's just because they requested it. And I'm like, okay, is that how we're doing things now?
Yeah.
I'll take Amazing Spider-Man. 13 issues,
no.
I promise. Like, that's
No,
all I
you
need.
can't have that one.
Oh, okay, cool.
I'll give you a random The End story, though.
I'll take that.
There you go.
But still, stupid.
All right, you get Mojo, the end.
Yeah, Harvey Weinstein on a wheelchair. Yeah, no.
What? Who is this character?
He's
never
a
seen Mojo?
X-Men villain.
Yeah.
Oh.
He's got like the things that pull his eyes to the side. He's always real
He's
happy.
morbidly obese, and he's on like a spider wheelchair. He's
like
like Jabba
yellow.
the Hutt if he were a TV executive.
I don't know that character.
Oh, you would not like him. In fact, the cover of this trade is
Oh
for
my
Iron
God.
Man Requiem.
Oh my
not
God.
Iron Man the End.
Yep, because it's got shit from the movie in it.
Yes.
That is.
That's amazing,
that's
and I
bullshit.
love it.
That's a marvel.
I was confused as to why Iron Man's suit looks so different
Yeah.
Yep.
in the end story compared to what we were seeing.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
No.
It's just a cover from a different book.
It's just a lie.
That's-
This is the trade for Iron Man the End.
Yeah.
I'm not using Michelini's cover.
Yeah, no, that would be ridiculous.
Nobody wants to see that shit.
This came about because I wanted to talk about a 4-part Iron Man event. And
They're gonna be like, we're having an intervention.
because I want to talk to you, Ben. No, it's. And I needed to get you here. And I know
It
it's
comes
low.
out from
Just
the
an
set.
elaborate fucking
There's no card.
What?
camera's not been filming this whole time.
Yeah. Just wasted an hour and a half.
No, but that hour and a half is gonna make me money.
Yeah.
I'm putting this on the internet.
I mean, I'm spending time here. What's happening? I was gonna do a 4-part Iron Man story called the Dragon Seed Saga, and then I realized we did it already. At the end of Armor Wars 2, I was like, this book sucks so much. I'm gonna truncate it into 10 minutes, and I do. And there's no point in redoing it because no one wants an hour-long version of that.
Sure.
They got it at the end of Iron Man Armor Wars 2. So if you want to check that out, it's 2 episodes for the price of 1 from like 2 or 3 years ago. So enjoy that. Otherwise, Iron Man the End, folks. See you next week. I'm Sal.
I'm Ethan.
I'm Ben.
Keep reading. I am. That's the theme to the Iron Man cartoon.
Oh.
I am Iron Man. It's great.
I mean, we can't use Ozzy or Black Sabbath.
No, we're
but
not
we
paying
can still
for that.
sing in a rock ballad, I Am Iron Man, and remind you of it. I don't know what the theme to the first cartoon was. There were two, in the Marvel Action Hour, there were 2 shows. It was Iron Man and Fantastic Four. And both shows looked like hot ass. And then, season 2, they took notes, got completely new animation styles, and upped their game considerably. This is also, of course, the same version of the Fantastic Four that has one of the best or worst theme songs of all time. And they threw that theme song away for an instrumental version that I adore. That's my Fantastic Four theme, is season 2 of the Marvel Action Hour Fantastic Four theme song. So good. Just a great orchestral score that is worthy of a movie.
Well, they switched this one over to be Iron Man.
Iron
Iron Man does whatever an iron can.
He steams your clothes. And
Wrinkle free. He's a friend to you and me. Look out.
Here comes
the Iron Man.